normally when we speak to our experts, we literally speak to experts in finance or nutrition or education and things like that. So we tend not to speak to just normal dads. But Will's a normal dad getting loads of things right, loads of things wrong. And we just thought it'd be great to hear from him and share his thoughts. So Will, we talked about the bit before the birth and things like that. Want to know what were your first, what popped into your head What did you think when you first saw your newborn baby boy?
Well, you have all of that time to, prepare yourself, but like nothing prepares you for that moment, and then it all becomes real, and he's in your hands, and it was just huge, elation. I wasn't, it was just pure happiness. The birth took a slightly different route, and it was hectic, for a couple of moments. So then to for everyone to be safe,
yes,
and him to be in our arms, it was just the best thing. I was just so proud of Sarah for, what she'd been through and achieved. It was it was very special.
It's one that you just can't forget. You're kind of always in that moment. I can remember it perfectly, and it's awesome, isn't it? So I think all couples, you develop a birth plan, and that's a really important part of your planning. So do you want to talk about that and how it's important to be kind of flexible as well, I think?
Definitely. Well, Sarah and I both went down the hypnobirthing route. We had a weekend having a couple of classes, 2 8-hour sessions on wooden chairs. Pretty intense, but learnt a lot. And actually before that, Sarah had floated the idea of a home birth, and she reminded me when we were running through the answer the other day that my reaction was, oh God, no, we're not doing a home birth. So I, clearly didn't kind of give her the support and say the right things in that moment.
Right.
But after our hypnobirthing course, we absolutely 180'd, and we did have we tried for a home birth initially, but going on that course and becoming educated on that hearing is actually one of the best places to try and give birth in a calm atmosphere, in somewhere you're comfortable, to allow the oxytocin to kind of run through your body, and it can. So I was after that very on board, and I think that was a really special moment for both of us, and a very happy moment for Sarah.
Great.
To know that we were both into the same idea. That. So both Sarah and I were prepared for the birth at home.
Yeah.
And we were both on board and really excited for this. But there was a kind of, after a few hours in the birthing pool, there was a bit of a change in route, and we had to jump into an ambulance to head to hospital. There was nothing wrong, but it wasn't going to happen at home.
Yeah.
Baby was facing up rather than down.
Okay.
So had to head into hospital, and I think both of us were okay with the plan changing, and we were prepared for that in the run up. But I guess because we both had our heads very much in the birthing pool, when we're in hospital, then you're passed forms to say, you have to find what the side effects could be to a spinal block, how your legs might go fizzy for 5 weeks afterwards, and so sort of signing those in a heated moment was quite intense. And also just blue flashing lights down. It was all a lot. But both I was just doing everything I possibly could to be there and keep things calm. I actually tried to crack a few gags along the way, but it went down terribly. Like it just,
with everyone in the room? Or
just with everyone in the room. I think the midwives just looked away, and Sarah goes, "Can you just less?"
Let's talk. I think it's really important that people have an open-minded approach to a birth plan. Things don't always go to plan, do they?
Totally. No, you have to be open-minded, and our plans in the run-up had changed quite a bit. So when I initially sort of knocked the idea of the birthing pool at home, we were looking at the birthing centre. But with the birthing centre, sometimes if there's not enough staff, they could be closed.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're full, and you're just straight onto the ward.
Yeah.
So you just got to be flexible.
Yeah.
And
prepared to deal with it. Yeah.
but yeah, I felt like maybe I could have maybe in my head been a bit more prepared for like, what I was signing, or, sorry, Sarah was signing it, but I was very much,
Cool.
in there with her. Good.
So happily now, Fred's a happy, smiley, bouncing baby boy. So looking back on that, and you're very early into it still, really. But what do you think? What bits have you got really right? Do you think on the whole thing, and maybe what bits do you less so, or would you do differently?
We definitely haven't bought too much. There are lists flying around of everything you need, and we've had lists from friends, Excels that have been passed from friend to friend or whatever, with 200 items on them, of things that are essential for for a newborn, and we carefully just picked the things that we thought were necessary.
Yeah.
And actually, there's so much of that stuff you can just get as you go.
Yeah.
With next day delivery, if you don't really need a pram for the first few weeks, when you're at home, and then baby's in the carrier for a little bit. So there's no sort of, we didn't feel the need to kind of rush into getting everything.
We met Fred earlier, one of the most impressively togged up little men you'll meet, and all of it I think was from far charity shops and stuff like that. So you can do it. You don't need to spend the earth, do you?
No, definitely not. And you have friends and family that will shower your baby in presents and and nice outfits and stuff. So we were definitely in the mindset that let's go to charity shops, and Sarah popped onto Depop a few times and bought some slightly more stylish garms. But yeah, generally, we went in, you can be buying clothes 50p rather than, £5 that it would have been brand new. So we felt like we'd smashed it there. I guess it was always going to be tricky, but like going back to work is tough. I feel very fortunate. I'm, work 10 minutes down the road. But after you have all of that, intense, time, the three of you, to then going back, I think that was probably the toughest. And, and then just trying to keep your brain focused and, not be thinking just about your family the entire time. You've got to be there to, work hard and crack on.
Because I think part of that is there's a sleep issue, which everyone talks about, but you kind of can get over that. It's a different thing in a way, isn't it? It's, there's the three of you here, and then you have to go out into the big wide world and do your job.
Yeah.
It's hard.
One thing I think we did really well is that both Sarah and I felt strongly about this, is trying to just navigate those first weeks ourselves.
Yeah.
There was always the offer. We're very lucky. We have supportive families, but there was, offer from family to come down and, and stay locally and help. And actually, that was such an important, bonding time for the three of us. Didn't want to be, shown how to change a nappy. I literally just wanted to work it all out.
Yeah.
The two of us. And you're both there changing the nappy for the first few, because it's,
And the swaddling, learning all that, and rolling them up like a burrito.
Just trying to work it out yourself is such an amazing experience for the both of you to do together. And then when the time's right, family come down at the end of the week and pop in and say hi. But we definitely slowed all that down. We didn't want to have too many guests too early. I think it's part of recovery as well for Sarah.
Yeah.
We took it steady. We watched a lot of TV. Really strange. Like Sarah just, any opportunity to go outside and go on a walk and, keep active. And this was like the opposite. We were there just nesting and giving her body and mind, the best opportunity to kind of, to recover.
I think there's quite a lot going on because other than there's just a brand new human, Sarah's become a mother, you've become a father, and together you've become parents, haven't you? And that, there's a lot to unpack there, a lot to get your head round. And, it's a change, I can't think of a bigger change to your life, really.
Huge.
It's going to affect everything from going forward. And it's a wonderful time to savour.
Yeah.
So, I love that nesting, that's great. That's exactly what
it was cool.
And doing it your way, a way you've discussed together.